The Cincinnati Bengals have made another move in free agency. Let's talk about it next here on No Buts About It. What's up, everyone? It is Josh here from No Buts About It. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure you do that. We cover every NFL team. We just did an awesome interview with One Bar from the One Bar and Lepagis show on the Minnesota Vikings and Indianapolis Colts free agency. So make sure to check that out right after this video. But right now, we're going to talk about Lucas Patrick, who has signed with the Cincinnati Bengals on a 1 year, $2.1 million contract. Now, Lucas Patrick is not a big name whatsoever when it comes to just general NFL knowledge. However, he is an average to above average guard who offers some versatility at the center position as well. Um, there's going to be people who look at this signing and they say, "Who cares? I've never even heard of this guy." Well, you might want to learn his name because he is at the very least competition for Cordell Volson and Cody Ford. We're not going in anymore with those guys starting as our guards. So Lucas Patrick is been in the league for a decade, and he started as a college free agent signing with the Packers, spent quite a few years with them, headed to the Bears, a little rivalry there, went to the New Orleans Saints, and now he is a Cincinnati Bengal. It was being reported, though, that Patrick was being looked at by two other teams, including the New Orleans Saints, who wanted to bring him back, but also the Seattle Seahawks. He lives in Portland during part of the year as well. So the fact that the Cincinnati Bengals were able to win that competition to get him is kind of interesting to me. They were a bit hard headed in getting him, and also he's 31 years old, which again, not something that necessarily usually sticks out to NFL fans. But to Bengals fans, they may notice the Bengals starting to move away from that tendency to avoid signing guys over the age of 30. And, that opens up which free agents you can go after. Some may argue, hey, that's just them being cheap. I'm gonna look to the positive here and say, no, they're just looking at a wider berth of possible guys to bring in. In this 1 year, $2.1 million deal, that is not guaranteeing starter money either, which, I like that too because it's cheap and they can still make some other free agency moves. So you've got Lucas Patrick, you got Matt Lee, who has been a fan favorite for a lot of people. 7th round pick last year out of Miami, and he's really a center in my opinion. He's a smaller guy, but center's going to be your smallest guy on the line. Very good in preseason. He's shown promise, but with Ted Karras being the starting center, he hasn't gotten a ton of chances on that offensive line. We've seen him in a few jumbo packages during the regular season, but that's really it. And then, of course, you have Cordell Volson, who was the starting guard last year and the last few years. He has struggled at that left guard position at times. Alex Kappa was the right guard, released him. Cordell Volson is entering the final year of his rookie contract, has about a $3.5 million cap hit. So he's coming into camp as the starter, presumably, but with Lucas Patrick and Cody Ford also on the roster, he could lose that position. And having a $3.5 million cap hit on the bench really isn't that concerning to me because the Bengals usually go into the regular season with like 20 million in cap space pillow to roll over. So, 3.5 million isn't going to necessarily break the bank. However, we got some competition. We got some competition with Lucas Patrick. And Lucas Patrick is not a big name at all, but he is an average to above average player, and he offers interior line versatility. I don't know if this will make sense to some people, but he's like the inverse of Cody Ford. Cody Ford can play that guard. He can play that tackle position. We saw him all over the line this past year because of all the injuries. But Lucas Patrick plays center and guard. So he's got experience at that. He has 2009 career snaps at center. He has 1,372 at right guard. And he has 1,087 at left guard. So we'll see who he beats out, what that competition ends up looking like. But I really like this signing. He's a really good run blocker. That's been consistent throughout his career, being a good run blocker. He has struggled some seasons with the pass blocking. And that is, I know, scary for some fans. It's scary for me as well. But I'm confident that, with Orlando Brown or Amarius Mims on his side, depending which side he ends up on, and then Ted Karras next to him, that they can help, with that pass blocking that'll come together. And, Joe Burrow's like last year, he had the two worst guards in the NFL. So even if we get average to slightly below average out of Lucas Patrick, it's still going to be a major upgrade. Like, that's where we're at, guys. That's where the Bengals are at is, can you just get like average? That's what we want. And we've got depth. If injuries happen, you have Cordell Volson and Cody Ford, who still have starting experience. Could maybe kick Matt Lee out to guard. I wouldn't do that. I would probably put Ted Karras out at guard. He has experience there, specifically at right guard, I believe, in his career. And then just have Matt Lee start at center if you have to do that. But overall, this signing allows us to have competition. It allows us to have depth at the guard position, and it offers some versatility on that offensive line that the Bengals need. So I'm a fan of the signing. We'll see what happens in camp. I would still like to see the Bengals go after someone like Brandon Scherff. And, seeing them go after an older guy like Lucas Patrick, that builds some confidence in me that they might be able to get a Scherff deal done. And, we could see, who knows what they're going to do in the draft. This Lucas Patrick deal, we've talked about Volson and Ford, but also, do they draft a guard? Do they draft a guy in the second or third round? I'd still like to see them go defensive interior in the first, but do they draft a guy in the second and third at the guard position? And then Lucas Patrick becomes like a hedge player, a bridge player for that draft pick. We'll see what happens. Obviously, there's still a lot of offseason to go, but let me know what your thoughts are about the Lucas Patrick signing down below. And as always, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. It helps us out so much. You have no idea. And until next time, go do something nice for someone.